Welcome one and all to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you in part by Water Cleanup of Florida. The schmutz was cleaned away for the Heat last night, but we did see a little bit of schmutz with the Florida Panthers. It sort of feels like that's what you get down here in South Florida. Whenever you think things are going good, something pops up with your home, whether it be water via flood or just any water issue, fire, and sadly, mold does happen. You feel the schmutz, you feel the stress, and I talk about this every day because it's what I used to go through before I knew of Water Cleanup of Florida. But now knowing that they're here, it's allowed me to exhale and just keep going through my day each and every day, because if I do find something wrong with it, I'm not worried about it. They have over 60 years of experience between Michael, Robert, and their team, and with their licensed contractors. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of going and Googling and searching and, reading this recommendation, reading this thing, and then, okay, fine, you get someone to come out and assess the situation. Well, now I have to have it fixed. Well, with Water Cleanup of Florida, they will assess it and fix your issues at the home front, which to me makes everything so much easier. That's what they do. They want to make it nice and easy for you. Plus, you can reach out to them 24/7. That's another problem, that things don't just happen between 9 and 5 at your home. Believe me, a lot of the time they happen outside of 9 and 5, 9 to 5, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just call them 954-579-0356, 954-579-0356, or WCUFL.com. WCUFL.com. Also on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Water Cleanup FL. Water Cleanup of Florida. We clean up your schmutz. And like I said, it was a mixed night. The Panthers got out to a quick lead and then didn't score the rest of the night. Their power play continues to be horrendous. Literally through 7 games, they have not scored one power play goal. It felt like they did score one to tie things up with under 10 minutes in the third period versus the Lightning last night. And then that goal was disallowed. So they finished the game without scoring another power play goal. The Lightning scored multiple power play goals, and the Lightning took game 1-1. Over, thank goodness for the Miami Heat. They've saved South Florida when it comes to sports the last 2+ decades, and they did it again last night. Jimmy Butler and company had a slow start, sluggish first half, but had a tremendous second half. We talked about that today on the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Good to be with you here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest 1, Mike Lubitz is semi-depressed. Mike Lubitz, as we witnessed, I don't know that it was history. I was talking with the aforementioned Mike Mayo, who's been mentioned at the beginning of every show for the last, 3 weeks. I think we've been playing that same clip.
In a
Do
week and 2
we have
days.
nothing else that we can offer the people here
Really.
from the many statements that we made on the program to introduce them into the program? You're obsessed with that clip. Or is it that you just can't get up early enough to change it one day?
I mean, I'm here early enough. I'm here well before the show. I'm in love with it because it still fits. But yes, there will be a new clip. There will be other things. But after last night, it actually sort of fits. I was yelling about the refs for half the night, even though, of course, it wasn't the refs.
No, it was a collapse in the third period. I don't know that it had anything to do with officiating there. The Panthers had their opportunities and ended up getting what? Did they have 4 power plays in this game?
I know they had 3.
And ended up 0 for 22 now.
At the beginning of the third period, they had 3. They were 0 for 3 on.
0 for 3 in the third period on a power play. So 0 for 22 for the 2 series combined, which now encompasses a total of 7 games. You cannot go 7 games without a power play goal in the postseason when the pressure is ratcheted up exponentially. And if you're going to blow these opportunities and allow the other team to score on their power plays, which they did allow the Caps to stay in games courtesy of power play goals, which it wasn't like they were horrible on penalty kills. They were actually pretty good, considering they staved off a couple of 5-on-3s in that series. But you can't keep this going and expect to win. So that didn't go too well. And now on the other side of town, south of where the Panthers were putting up a lackluster third period and getting blown out by the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Miami Heat got off to just an absolutely sluggish and unimpressive start and trailed by 8 at halftime against the Boston Celtics team, who the common wisdom was figured to be flat coming out of the chute here in the series. They're on the road in Miami. They just played a couple of days ago, life and death series against the Milwaukee Bucks, concluded with them in a blowout. And then you find out he was suspect, Marcus Smart, for the game, but that Al Horford was also going to be out. Now, I had no suspicion that Horford was going to be out. That turned out to be what? COVID protocol was the reason?
I don't know. It came out of nowhere. And for those of you that didn't know how Horford was still in the NBA, he's actually been a huge part of the Celtics' success in the playoffs. Like, he's turned back the clock and been like one of their top 4 or 5 players. So not having Horford and Smart was a huge deal going into that game last night.
Yes, and it did look ugly for the Miami Heat in the early portion of the game. Yeah, they weren't playing well. They were hoisting bricks up there. They gave up 62 points in the first half to a team that was supposed to be dog-tired, with the old women weakened legs.
Yep.
Plus, they had flown into Miami after being in Boston, and I don't know, is every team afflicted by the desire? Can you contain your desire to go out when you get to a place? Like can you stay in Las Vegas when you get there if you're a team that's playing, say, the Las Vegas Golden Knights or now the Las Vegas Raiders? Can you really stay in the night before?
If it's the conference finals, yeah. I think, especially this team was there 2 years ago, lost to the Heat. They came out like ready to avenge that loss. Yes. If you're the Grizzlies, I don't know.
Well, an NBA team too. I mean, of all the teams, like football is much more disciplined, I think, in regards to how they travel. Because, they'll have them stay at a hotel in Fort Lauderdale if they're taking on the Dolphins. So you're probably not going to see these guys jogging around on South Beach on a Saturday night before they play a 1 o'clock Sunday game in 100-degree temperatures at Hard Rock Stadium. That's unlikely to happen. And then they have all of this kind of militaristic protection against that sort of thing, right? Because there's always a coach like Carl Tassif was, when he was the Grim Reaper, and he would come and collect the playbooks. But he was also probably the guy that did the bed checks, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, you in there? Okay. No, and hockey, they're here in the northern part. If you're not familiar with the territory here, obviously our local listeners know what we're talking about here. But, they're not really in the neighborhood of South Beach.
No.
Where you
Suburbs.
would think that these hockey players who were coming from Saskatchewan and Saskatoon and all of these other places where they grew up in bitter cold, as if they were ready to go out on the deck and start bringing up crab pots on Deadliest Catch. That's their background. I don't know. I mean, are they going out and partying on South Beach? I would imagine that they party, very hard when they do, but I don't see that happening. It doesn't seem to be a factor with road teams coming in to play the Panthers, who had an excellent home record this year, so maybe there's something to it. But the NBA playing down there, right where the Heat Arena is, staying in some hotel in Coconut Grove, are you kidding me?
Well, that's the thing is that's
a natural.
Near the arena, you're not far from Brickell, you're by downtown. It's not South Beach for the national media that wants to make it South Beach, but it's at least close. It's actually probably like 15 minutes from South Beach.
Yeah.
So you actually are pretty centrally located to do a lot of things that an NBA coach wouldn't want you to do. I think it depends on the team. I think normally, no. I think if you're James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers, it took everything you had to keep him from fucking finding one of the various spots. This group, I don't know. The Celtics are very organized. They're very disciplined. Jason Tatum literally brings his son up for every freaking press conference. So I don't know if that's what happened. And look, it didn't look like it. It looked like the Heat were at the freaking Tootsies the night before until the third quarter.
Could have been.
That was
could have
weird.
been putting dollar bills in the stocking of some, attractive young lady at a fancy strip club. But no, that doesn't seem to be, their moniker. I don't know if that's in the Heat culture's DNA to be at strip clubs the night before the game. Udonis Haslem wouldn't stand for it. He would take the guy and just beat the living daylights out of him if he found some. If he found Tyler Hero out on the town.
Oh my God.
The night before the opening round, playoff game against the Celtics.
yeah, UD patrolling South Florida.
Why is he on the roster? He's not on the roster because he's going to see any playing time. I actually took a prop bet. I had to lay like 1,000 to 1 that Udonis Haslem would not see a minute of action in the game. I bet Haslam, DNP, CD.
Oh, my God.
Did not play coach's decision. Imagine if you could make that bet. I mean, you'd be cashing
a lot of money because it's every game.
But it's like it's the bridge jumper principle in horse racing, where a guy bets $50,000 to win $2,500 on a horse to show. Maybe it's a 5-horse field. They're allowing show wagering, even though like Secretariat is running in a race, like a tune-up race, just after coming back, maybe off a layoff. I mean, there's no way the horse finishes out of the money, correct? Mm-hmm. And every now and then, and there was a guy out in California for many years. I was fascinated by his action, as was one of the great handicappers, and this guy was doing the handicapping in the LA Herald Examiner. LA was very big on and prominently featuring horse racing handicapping and horse racing articles because it was a big part of the sports landscape down there. And Gordon Jones, the professor. Gordon Jones, one of the original professors that I've come across. Actually, he was probably the only professor I ever paid any real attention to. Pretty good handicapper for a public handicapper in the newspaper. And, he was fascinated by the Phantom Plunger. There was a horse out there campaigning who was one of the Triple Crown contenders in the like 1975, maybe something like that. And there's a horse campaigning called Flying Paster,
that's nice.
who had been a prominent contender, was a top-notch 2-year-old, and then comes back for his 3-year-old campaign. And the Phantom Plunger would put either 100 or 50,000 a show on Flying Paster when he was running in these small fields. And one time missed the board.
No.
Actually, it wasn't that horse. It was another horse, but he was commonly known, and everybody wanted to know his identity. That was the thing. Like he had built up a reputation, kind of like a guy that who's that artist that Bansky or whatever his name is, or what's the guy's name? Banksy. Yeah, like the guy, and you went, whoa, when did he do that? Are you kidding me? You come out and the whole bridge looks different. Because the guy was there overnight painting with his crew.
Yeah.
And, so you'd see the money go into the pools there. Spectacular Bid was the horse that Flying Paster was always going against. I was blanking on that. I could picture the horse, the gray there, and Ronnie Franklin and Bud Dill. And they competed against each other many times. And so they would scare off the rest of the horses in the field. And what were the odds that, like, Flying Paster was not going to hit the board? 0. So this guy would come in, but if you're going to bet that kind of money, like 50,000, what would get you 2,500 back? The horse has to pay $2.10 mandatory to show. So you're getting 10 cents, 5 cents on the dollar. All right. Now, would you put up 100,000 on like a minute and 20-second proposition to win 5,000? Or your obvious logic is if you have the 100, you don't need the 5.
Well, that's amazing.
So. It's the thrill, right? I mean, this is James Conn and the Gambler going in and bitch slapping some pimp. Who, Antonio Fargas, is that the guy's name? Huggy Bear? Antonio Fargas, who had a kid who played for like UCLA or something. And might have been in the pros, Antonio Fargas. Wasn't it the tall guy that was always playing a pimp and that kind of character in any kind of TV show or movie? And in the Gambler, which was filmed...
Good job by you. Yes.
Fargas, it wasn't? Yeah, Fargas. Yeah.
Got it. Good job by you.
The memory's scattered, but not totally shot yet.
Pretty impressive. You remember his exact name? I've never heard his name. I know the face. I was like, wow, I know that guy.
He sort of came into focus a little bit because it wasn't that long ago. His son was, I believe, a top running back. I want to say at UCLA. And so you would see, the shot, they'd take a shot of the father in the stands, and it was Antonio Fargas, and you're like, that's Huggy Bear. He has a kid that plays football? You're kidding me.
Oh,
anyway,
Justin
he was the guy
Fargas.
that James Conn, beat the crap out of there when he was trying to get himself killed because no bet was enough of a thrill to satisfy him, no monetary bet. And, that's kind of what this might have been for the Phantom Plunger, huh? But would you do it? I mean, would you ever consider putting $100,000? You possibly. I mean, come on. Would you ever be in a position where $100,000 meant so little to you that you could afford to, throw it away on a whim?
I don't. You're talking to the wrong guy. I don't throw away anything on a whim. To me, you need to get better odds. Andy Mann's talking about some crazy ass bet he made, but at least he was getting the money he's putting out. He was getting back that amount.
You usually want to play into odds that are favorable.
Favorable.
In other words,
would you want to
give me 5 to 1 on this horse?
Here's $10,000. Give me $100. Like what?
Yeah, unbelievable.
What do
what
you
are you going to do with the stick, man?
You're
Give it to
risking way
the
more
Uber
than
driver
you
that took you home. I mean, what is that?
I mean,
crazy. But so you would have to imagine if they threw Haslam into the game just to send a message.
I know that would suck.
and you've been cashing these bets all season long because he did get into what? Did he get into 2 games this year, Haslam, or
a couple
one?
of times? Yeah, when they got up real big, they'd put him out there. Or like there was some game I think early on. Yeah, that game where
and they
all
had
the
some
crap
COVID
happened.
And stuff where they had to throw him out there.
Yeah,
they
he got
only
in
had like
early.
6 guys.
Where he got remember he got double. It was like the quickest ejection ever in like 5-6 minutes. He got double teed.
Yeah,
he's Haslam. But
in the playoffs, I would imagine you're not going to see Udonis Haslam if they had a prop bet Will this guy see any action tonight? If he plays 1 minute, you lose. Which you step on the court, you get credit for a minute.
Yes.
So even if they just throw him in there and he was lined up in the, as a guy was taking a free throw, the first of two, and then they took, I guess you couldn't take him out of the game after the first one missed. But even if he sets foot on the court during regulation playing time, you would lose your bet.
Yeah.
Safe bet, though, no? Huh? Come on, Lubie.
Should. Yes,
can you bet that? Find out if you can bet that.
I'll
grab $100,000 out of the bank there and put it down on Haslam. DNPCD. And then you're just praying it's not a blowout.
Well, that's
or that three guys don't get hurt.
They'll throw him. Even the hurt, they don't always bring him in. But the blowout, he's one of the guys that everyone chants, UD. And, like, they'll throw him out there so he can go tackle someone. Like, remind himself that he knows how to tackle people. Like, that would be your worst bet. Like, last night, they were about to clear the benches before your guy Pritchard hit a freaking ridiculous three that neither team cleared the benches after that. That would have been the worst thing for you because 10 points with a minute left, I could see them throwing UD out just to, like, give them some run in, like, the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, it was looking ugly. And then they come out. I mean, Red Auerbach had to be rolling over in his grave.
That was a totally antithesis the second half.
My son made an interesting observation. It's an aside here about Luka Doncic, who will be in action tonight against the Warriors. Does he not have some Kevin McHale moves when he's down there in the low post?
Okay, people always
when
compare
he
him to
posts
Bird.
up a guy and he starts doing all of that stuff where and unlike Antetokounmpo, it doesn't appear that he's changing pivot feet 3 times.
No. Giannis gets away with stuff that no one's. I mean, James Harden.
Yeah, even Grant Long was saying that the other day, and we've speculated that if Grant Long was allowed to travel to the level that they liberally give Giannis Antetokounmpo these opportunities, then he would have played another 10 years in the league, and he did go 15 already, right? He would have been in the league like 25 years, longer than Haslam, who broke in the 60s, I think. Wasn't Haslam on the expansion heat? I think so.
Close to
1988.
Close to it.
Did not play coach's decision. Would you constantly put down $10,000 to win like $100 on that with Haslam?
I mean, no, that's a stupid return. But if you can,
the problem is the one time you lose. I mean, you have to win
every time,
20 times to make up for one loss. If you're betting $50,000 to win $2,500,
yeah, there's no way.
20 times you would have to win 20 of those bets, and that would only be able to overcome one loss if you won 20 straight. So you pretty much have to hit that every time.
That's why that bet's weird. It's not worth it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
I love that. I mean, and you would have to be a plunger to go ahead and bet Udonis Haslam not to play. I can't imagine anybody's taking that action. Anyway, he didn't play. He didn't need to play in the second half. Just a disastrous third quarter for the Boston Celtics.
It was a spectacular.
Absolutely hideous. I think it was 22-2 to open up the third quarter of the game. And I was thinking, okay, Heat are down 8 here, but they really haven't done much. And let's see what happens here. I expected the Heat to come back in the second half. I didn't expect them to, run away and hide in the third quarter like that.
22-2.
But I thought they would come back, maybe chip the lead down to 3 or 2, and maybe even take a small lead, and then play it out in the fourth quarter and play well. They were great stealing the ball. I mean, the Celtics went to sleep in the second half. Every pass was intercepted.
Yep.
Every dribbler had his pocket picked, and all resulting in layups there during that one big stint that the Heat were on fire. And they were doing it easily, and then they were hitting some circus shots on top of that. And Jimmy Butler, wow.
Oof, that guy.
All of these people that say that Jimmy Butler is not a go-to guy, I mean, every analyst will say the same thing. He'll score like 40 points, have 12 rebounds, 9 assists, and 4 block shots, and be involved as a catalyst in every good thing that happens for the Miami Heat, helping to stop runs by making a basket when nobody else is doing anything. I mean, and now in every series he's had a 40-point game.
Yeah.
It's the third series in a row. He puts his name up there in some really illustrious company with like LeBron James, James Harden, of course, when he was good. And he was a guy that was being asked to score like 40, 50 points a game. Butler, was perfectly content to have 16.
Yep.
But wow, I mean, is he on top of his game or what? Mike Lubie Lewis.
It's something I guess this era is different. I know than my era, let alone your era, but when I was growing up, it was yes, you want your stars to score, but if they, because that's why maybe I like Magic Johnson. I guess he wasn't the greatest defender, but like Magic wouldn't always have 30 something, but he would always be the star because even if he wasn't scoring, they would always say affect the game somehow, and that's the thing with a guy like Devin Booker. He's now going to get lambasted. He shouldn't. The guy's an elite scorer, but if he's not scoring, he doesn't do much else. He's not involved in the game. And that's why I think guys like Butler should get more credit. Don't discredit a Booker. Don't discredit even a Luka. Like, that's their game, and that's the modern day game. But, like, a guy like Butler should get more credit for even the games he doesn't score. He's involved. Like, he's getting steals. He's defending. He's rebounding. If he's not getting the assist, he's getting a hockey assist.
Making the right pass, yeah. He always makes the right pass. He's
always out there, and if his team's down, he's never disgruntled. He's never, like, he always has the same face where you saw with P.J. Tucker or you see with a Kyle Lowry. Like, his competitive spirit should get him more credit, but for some reason, they only care about the scoring in this day and age, so, like, he gets forgotten. Like, guys like Tatum and all these guys rise up, and it's like, I'll take Butler every day of the week and twice on Sunday because I know that guy, even when he's not scoring, is going to give you something. And games like last night, he just gives you everything.
He's going beyond the parameters that you thought he could bring to the table as a member of the Miami Heat. He seemed like a guy that was in need of another premium player that would be one of those superstar types that you were talking about that gets all the acclaim. I mean, this is really old school. We're going to have Tony Segreto on with us in about 20 minutes here on the program. To go old school with Tony Segreto, brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants and Catholic Health Services. And this is old school stuff where the guy is well-rounded.
Yes.
And is tenacious at the defensive end and very clever at the defensive end also. And also does things in an extremely timely fashion. He comes up with big defensive plays in key spots.
Yes.
And, turnaround type of plays. He had a steal where he anticipated a pass that set up a layup in that third quarter run. And you thought, wow, now that's good instincts. And, here's a team that's now coasting a little bit, and he's still trying to make those plays. And he had a big block in the corner. So Jimmy Butler, he's exceeded anything I could have anticipated him bringing to the table as a member of the Miami Heat and is not getting the kind of credit that he probably should. Being the accolades that he would deserve for being an extremely, as you said, well-rounded player, but also a guy that's carrying this team offensively on his back.
Well, and he does something that LeBron never got enough credit for, and I don't know if he still does to this day. Like, Jimmy Butler trusts in his teammates so wholeheartedly that as a fan, I'll be like, Jimmy, you have the lane. Go. He'll throw a no-look and start running to the other end, and I'm like, no, Vincent, no! And Vincent will nail a three. They all cheer, and it's like Jimmy knew so. He does it with Strus, where Strus had the two horrendous games, and Jimmy's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to keep feeding him. And you could see it builds up his guy's confidence. And LeBron did that all the time. And early in his career, LeBron would get lambasted. But LeBron knew, I'm not going to win without these guys. Like, if Damon Jones isn't hitting threes, or if, these guys aren't hitting shots, it doesn't matter what the hell I do. And, like, Jimmy Butler's great at that, where he's like, okay, even when he's on or off, he's like, I don't care. He's like, I'm going to make sure my guys get the ball in good spots, and I'm going to act confident in them no matter what they're doing. And you see it. It's like, what the hell?
I'm laughing because I was picturing Leslie Visser screaming about Jimmy Butler getting virtually every call from the officials last night in what she thought was an atrocious Tim Donaghy-esque type of performance by the Zebras. He does draw a lot of fouls, Jimmy Butler. A lot of fouls. Now, not all of them are getting called in the park. I don't think.
Well, probably not. I mean, he plays a physical brand of basketball. He goes to the hoop, and he gets rewarded for it, which is almost an old school kind of a thing.
He'll give you a forearm shiver like he was Dusty Rhodes, and then fall backwards as he makes a shot. And, here comes the whistle. And I had putting Butler at the stripe also. So I don't know. The officiating wasn't the differential in that game. It was clearly the Heat's amplification of everything that they were doing defensively. And Boston went into just a difficult, abysmal slump there in the third quarter. I don't think they hit more than a couple of shots. They ended up getting outscored like 34-14 or something like that. And through 6 minutes, had 2 points in the quarter. I mean, they opened up the the second half, 62-54 in the good. And I'm looking at the clock. It's like, wait a minute. It's 6 minutes to go in the quarter, and they only have 64 points.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
2 points they had, a 22-2 run. So that was the story in that game. We did talk to many people. A lot of people thought, yes, prohibitive for the Celtics to win game one. They acquitted themselves very well in the first half. You were already, screaming that they should fire Spoelstra, and the game turned out to be not even close, an annihilation. And the final score in that thing was 118, 107. So Miami up 1-0. Golden State takes on the improbable Dallas Mavericks, who have survived 2 7-game series. Correct? Did they not go 7 with Utah? I think they did. And so,
yeah, I guess.
I think they did. Who knows?
7
but
or 6.
nonetheless, 7-game bloodbath in their last series against the number 1 seed in the entire tournament, the Phoenix Suns. Knocked the Suns out. Somehow completely stymied their game. I mean, you talk about taking a team out of its element, especially in that Game 7, where, they used one of your theories, Lubie, right? The triangle in 2, reverse triangle in 2 defense. Put 3 guys on Booker and let the other 2 guys just bounce off the ropes and try to cover whoever happens to get the ball to hoist up a 3. And it worked as they blew out the Phoenix Suns and now find themselves in the Western Conference Finals. That series gets underway tonight. Nobody's given Dallas much of a chance in this thing. I don't know. What do you think, Lubie? Would it be a big shock if they beat Golden State? Everybody has Golden State now winning the championship. Sean Devaney was on the show with us yesterday.
Yes.
Has Golden State going all the way. And I think, if you asked 100 people that watch or listen to the show, Golden State, in terms of beating Dallas, I would imagine that you would probably get something in the area of like over 90% are thinking. It just... Does it not seem like it's already a given in a lot of people's minds that Golden State's going to win this series? So I'll naturally be rooting now for the Dallas Mavericks.
You should. I wonder what odds are getting, because I don't give them a chance. I think the Warriors. I think this is where
they're not overwhelming underdogs tonight. I think 4.5 is the line.
That's 4.5. Crazy. I think this is where the upset Cinderella goes to quote unquote die. I mean, the Warriors are getting better. The Mavs should have lost to the Jazz. If the Jazz didn't have all this infighting, I think the Jazz would have beaten the Mavs in 6 games.
They went Gobert out of there, man.
Yeah, they're not happy at all. And then the Suns should have annihilated them.
Gobert.
So, I don't... Yeah, the Warriors, to me, should win the series in 5. So, if they somehow pull this series out of their rear, to me, it's one of the greatest shockers in NBA playoff history.
You know what I can't get used to? I mean, sometimes there's a thing that happens in sports, and you just... like the Chargers becoming the Los Angeles Chargers. Right? I mean, it just, you're still going to call them the San Diego Chargers. I mean, it wouldn't be uncommon, and you can't get used to it. I'm having trouble coming to grips with the idea that Dwayne Wade is an influential part as a part owner of Utah.
It's annoying.
How incongruous to Dwayne Wade's sort of image and the way that he played and all of that with the movie star, or the, very popular wife. And, he's always seen a big fashion-conscious guy. What is he doing in Salt Lake City, for God's sake?
Because they offered him the thing that Mickey Arison didn't, and he was bitter, so he took it. He wanted to be a part owner with the Heat. Arison, of course, after the fact, like, yeah, sure.
The Mick doesn't need the money, though.
Well, that's the thing, but it's just about, having
respect.
Wade there. No, I'm talking about from a Heat perspective. It's if Wade wants to be a maker.
Shouldn't they let Dwayne Wade buy a piece? I mean,
who cares?
That seems uncharacteristic of Mickey Arison to take a hard line on something like that.
Who cares? So that's the thing is that he, I guess, had a weird moment, and him and Wade had a miscommunication. And Wade said, okay, and went with the Jazz. But he still shows up in Heat games.
What piece of the Jazz does he own?
I don't know.
Is he a major
5%,
owner of
3%,
significance?
No, something stupid. He's not involved in decisions.
Like when John Henry owned 1% of the Yankees?
Well, it's like Serena with the Dolphins or Fergie. Like, I think it's something it's not like Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's something similar to that. Like, I think it's like 3 to 5%. I don't know if it's more than that.
Now is Jordan the outright owner?
Yes, Jordan is.
Charlotte Hornets?
Jordan's the only African American majority owner in the NBA. I don't know if in professional sports, but in the NBA for sure. He's actually he's become the owner of the Hornets.
Okay. But, I didn't know what his role exactly was because I was reading an article about what Utah's going to do now, and they mentioned that Dwayne Wade was going to have some influence in this. And I thought, Dwayne Wade, didn't he buy a piece of that team? But it's hard to get used to, right? Because you see Dwayne Wade around, the Miami Heat, and you're thinking, that's where you belong, Dwayne. You don't belong in some, I don't want to say it's a shithole of a city because I've never been there, but anybody out there? I mean, unless you're a skier, is anybody going to Salt Lake? Yeah, maybe.
No.
More people than that will be going to Cleveland. That's for sure.
Unless you're a Mormon.
Yeah. Salt Lake City, is that one of your destinations of choice? No casinos, nothing? A lot of Mormon thinking?
Yes.
I
That's
don't know
literally all
about
I'm
going there. It
thinking
doesn't
about.
sound like Fun City to me, huh? Maybe the mailman had a good
not.
time there.
It's
About it.
It's not at all.
Seems like the kind of place where John Stockton would enjoy playing, right? Because he fit right in with the Osmonds. Unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly.
Old school, Tony Segreto. So it was a little bit of this, a little bit of that last night. Like you were at an Italian restaurant. Hey, what do you want on that? Now, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
And it was sad and good. The Heat saved the night. I was really excited that the Panthers got up 1-0. They were playing aggressive. It's like cool. And then the third period happened, and I was depressed. And then the Heat were down, and then that second half came. I was like, oh, thank God, Jimmy Butler.
I sort of anticipated a turnaround, not to that level, by the Miami Heat in the second half of that game.
Once again, it was a night full of ups, downs, ups. Panthers started high, went low. Heat started low, went high. But right now we have the Heat sitting 1-0 over the Boston Celtics. They pick up action Thursday, tomorrow, Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA, and the Panthers, who start down 0-1 versus what has become an in-state rival. I mean, they're in-state, quote-unquote, rivals, but becoming rivals. 2 straight seasons in the playoffs, 2 straight years. The Panthers were the better team in the regular season, and now the Panthers are down 2 straight years to the now back-to-back champion, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, Tampa Bay Lightning. They pick up their series also Thursday for Game 2 in their Eastern Conference semifinals. We will talk about all of it right here, and also each and every morning. Just Google The Defo Show to get us for 2 hours live video every morning, also audio as well. And check us out on our exclusive content podcast, the Believe Network, Believe.com, search After Hours. Today, I don't know if it is a big deal to you, but it was a big deal to me. Growing up, I loved Big League Chew. Now, I thought it was around since the 60s. I guess it actually started right before my youth. But Big League Chew was a big deal. Like, it was really cool. It made you feel like you were doing tobacco without actually any of the health hazards. And it also tasted good. And it gave you a lot for, like, it was cheap and you got a ton. Well, we talked with the founder of Big League Chew, Rob Nelson, today on After Hours with Defo and Lubie. Again, Believe.com, BLEAV.com. Search After Hours. And each and every day right here, our South Florida content, The Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?